Morning guys, John here, Mr. Forex Fire. So today I thought I would take a little look at the harmonics for now. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, okay, you're watching this on YouTube, just hit the notification bell and set that to all notifications, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Okay, if you want to be inside the Discord, if you're not watching this from inside the Discord, we have a Discord channel. Again, just comment below and just let me know and I'll get you inside of that. I'm just going to share the screen, and if you can just persevere with me just for a moment or two, just while I get set up. So what we're looking for to get set up on for the harmonics, you're looking for the indicator, where we at, and it's auto harmonic patterns V2. Okay, auto harmonic. So if we go into the search, auto harmonics, let's have a look. It's this one here, by He Who Must Know, and at this stage there's 2023 downloads on it. Okay, if we just click on the eye, we're on the 1 hour on the Euro GPY. Just going to see if there's a pattern shows up. Again, when you first click on these, you just have to take your time because it does have to populate. There we are, and there's a pattern there. And again, it's not always about, yes, it gives you a stop entry target 1, 2, and 3, but there is ways you can use this to actually work for you a lot better. Okay, so generally what we're doing is we are measuring the pips from C to D. There's a movement there of around 55 pips. I would generally go for around 80 pips or more, to be fair, but on this instance I'm just going to show you what I sort of break everything down to. So we're going to go over to the left on the instrumental panel, X, A, B, C, D. We'll get this marked out, X, A, B, C, D. Now, generally on this left-hand side, you're going to see a category state, which is going to tell you if it's bullish, bearish. It also tells you how many's failed, how many stopped, how many hit target 1, 2, and 3. There's also a target 4 on these ones, and the total amount of patterns that have emerged. Okay, when you're on the settings itself, let's have a look. When you're on the settings itself, you've got on the inputs, I just leave everything as normal. The only thing I generally take off on the bottom is the shark pattern and the N star. The beauty on this one, compared to most of the platforms, you do get anti-pattern stars. So when things start to get outstretched, it will have other boxes where price could go to. So price could end up to here at some stage. Okay. Other than that, everything else is just kept the same with regards to the zigzags. I just unclick the shark and N star. Everything else is just kept the same. Same with the visibility and same with the style. Okay. Now, what I would generally do is from the D point to the candle to the left, I would do the swing to swing. Okay. Swing to the left candle to the left, as long as it was broken lower on this instance to the left. I would have the other end of the fibs to there. Now you'll see on here we've got some fib ratios. Okay, and if we just dial into that. Let me get that back on. I do apologize. So we do have ones in here that you possibly won't use, but I used to have them in the old group I used to do that I devised a strategy for. We have a minus 2.5, a 0.75, a 1, a 0, a 3, a 2, a 2.72, and a 0.25. Okay. And again, levels, prices, reverse, background, all that's set up. Now, what we are generally doing, we can go to once we get this marked out on the 1 hour, I generally jump down to the 15 minutes. Okay. Now, when I jump down to the 15 minutes, you can see we've still got the 0 point here. It would mean that candle there, a little bit of an indecisive candle. So I would still keep that candle as the one to go to next. There's nothing in that candle at all, to be fair. So that candle still holds true. Very good. From there, we've had a push out of what we would call the money zone. Okay. So in this instance, your 71 or your 75 to your number 1 is going to be known as your money zone. Okay. So this here, money zone. Now, what I'm waiting for is push out, a push back in, and then we enter, okay? And then we're looking to target on the lower side. Now, what I would constitute as a push out is not a wick, okay? There has to be a close of candle, okay? You could test this on either way. So we will be waiting for a push down. Okay. And for there to be a closer candle before we get a reverse back down. We tested this a lot in my old group. A lot of people actually went with the wicks. Some people waited for the close of price out of the money zone, ready for a retrace back in. It's just down to personal preference, to be fair. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let the price move on this one, because there's not much I can do as in doing everything completely live. I do have to let price move a little bit. In the meantime, I'm just going to put this on as let's see, a deep blue, and I'll see if I can see another one that's possibly moved as well. We'll just take a look. We'll have a look around, and just remember the Euro JPY. I think there might have been 1 or 2 that I marked up this morning. Just wait for it to populate again. Right, there's a 1 there. So again, this has done what it's needed to do. X, yeah, B, C, D. Let's get the fib. Go from the swing down to the next swing. Not much of a movement on this, to be fair, simply because the pips, you're looking at 43 pips there. That's a 15-minute to start with anyway. So we'll mark that one blue as well, to be fair. That's a GBP Australian dollar. We'll mark that one pink, dark blue, sorry. GBZ. Right, here we are. Here's one here. One I was looking at earlier. Right. The 1 hour. So when this populates, you'll see here. You'll see there that's marked out, right? So what we've got is it already tells us to stop an entry in target areas, okay? But what we want to do is just use the strategy and technique that I have put together. So you got from your swing down to your next candle, okay? So it's from your D point, which is this one here, down to the wick of the next candle, right? Now, what we are looking for is to drill it down to 15 minutes, okay? Drilling it down to 15 minutes, you can see here, we've had the kick out, we've had the kick back in, and it's touched beautifully to the 75. So that would have been an entry. There's little to no drawdown. Now, your target areas, you're only ever going to get around about a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 3 on these sort of trades, depending on how you treat your stop, okay? Now, you'll see, ignore the stops that you're seeing on these targets here, okay? Your 0.25 is a bit of a buffer from the D point, okay? But again, it will affect your risk to reward. On this, it's still going to give you just over a 1 to 2. Just above the D point is nearly a 1 to 3. Again, this has been a trade that has been no drawdown whatsoever. We've kicked out of the money zone. Okay. Let's have a look. We've kicked out of the money zone, okay, by 1 and 2 candles. It's actually come back in to test that 75 line, and now it's off to the races, and it could go to any one of these fib level targets, which I've got produced, the 2.272 and the 3. And all honesty, what you could do when you get to the first target, move your stop loss to just above break even, and take a partial if you should wish, or you could wait until it's gone past target 1, move the stop loss to just above break even. When it goes to target 2, you could take a partial and let the rest run free. Okay, so that one is, at the moment, it is acting as a successful trade, which is good. It has just ended. What we'll do is we'll keep an eye on the Euro GBP at the minute and the GBP ORD, just to see if we get any sort of indication on a push out to come in to then go further, right? Okay, and I'll pause the video now. We'll come back in a little while and then we'll talk you through the process again and the instructions on how I would generally trade these. Okay, so I'm just going to pause the video. We'll be back in a moment. Hi guys, John back again. So what we're going to be doing is we do have it drilled down to a 15-minute from the 1 hour chart. Okay, so we do need the price to come out, and I'm going to base this upon the wax of the candle sort of thing, which is what I used to do rather than the wick. So after 10 minutes, if price is still outside of here, we would sort of then have a sell limit set, waiting for retracement into the money zone of the 75 area. But we will wait and continue to see if prices going to stay outside of the money zone for now. Again, because what it's doing is just basically breaking the structure from this higher low, if that makes sense. We've had a higher high, and now we're coming down to make a lower low. So what's happening in essence, this has now become a zone where we get a retracement. It's not going to go back to sort of mitigate up into the higher high. So it's going to take, and if you see on this, the retracement on this is around about 50% on that line as well. So there's some good confluence there, to be fair. From there, the GBP ORD. Again, we've got the swing point defined there. Let's have a look at the 15 minutes. In fact, the swing point, that's your swing point there. So that will be your entry there. It's entering now because we've gone down from the 1 hour to the 15 minutes. The one candle to the left is up there to the swing point. Okay, we've come out. I'm going to go back to the hour a minute. I just need to look at this. Bit of a bad pattern to choose this one because it's only a small one, to be fair. Which one's the D? In fact, that is the D on the green candle. So that would be the area. Sorry, I do apologize. Let's have a look. Let's get rid of that money zone. So we're still waiting for price to push out of here. At the moment, it's retracing into the area what would be known as the anti-pattern. It's a Gartley. It's an anti-Nen star. So again, it hasn't come to mitigate out of the area that I'm waiting for it to retrace back to the money zone. The GBP NZD. This more or less done it instantly for us this morning. Okay, we go back up to the hour. we go back up to the hour, we can see from here, which is the D point, down to the candle to the left, to the wick, okay? And then we've got that marked out. If we go down to the 15-minute, we've got from here, the D point is from the candle of the D point wick to the candle to the left, it's here. We come out and then we come straight back into retest into this area, touched into it, wick entry. And so far, this would have given around about 36 pips, to be fair, on that one. But the one I'm waiting for at the moment, we're just going to see if we can get a retracement on this. Euro, JPY, obviously the euro must be weak at there. The JPY, let's have a look. Yeah, the euro must be weak at the moment because the JPY is pushing the euro down, to be fair, and it's starting to form another pattern. You'll see this happen once you're watching the charts, to be fair. That pattern's disappeared because it mustn't be going to mitigate into it. We've got 7 more minutes. I'll come back in about 10 minutes time because we're obviously now going to be anticipating this money zone unless price rockets. Unless price rockets back up to come back inside of here, okay? So we'll come back in about 10 minutes and see where we are with regards to this pattern here, okay? So I'm going to pause the video. We'll be back in a moment. Hi guys, so as you can see now, going by the timer on there, okay, you've got a little under 2 minutes left before this officially sort of closes price out. So now I'm simply just waiting for the retracement back in for it to activate a trade, to be fair. This may be a good test for us to see if it will give us that. Again, when will it do that? I don't know whether it'll do it straight away, whether it'll do it throughout today, or whether it'll do it later on today. But for sure, I will certainly do a follow-up video on this if required. But we can see we've pulled out of the zone now. We're simply just waiting for the retracement to then come down to further targets. Again, if we go on the other blue ones, we can see the GBP odd is not acting for us. It's just consolidated in this area. And there's a reason why it's possibly consolidating in this area, is because when we've had this area here, the pull up, there's a lot of heavy traffic here, so to speak, okay? The GBP NZD. This one, obviously, it came out and it ended just as I was doing the video. So this one is doing pretty well, to be honest. We'll see where it's going to reach. The whole amount of pips on this is a good healthy 138 pips. Excuse me. We'll see what it wants to give. And again, it's not about being greedy. We'll just have simple targets on here. The one thing I like about this, obviously, is target 1, based upon the indicator, is target 1 from my fib ratios. So again, that's very, very sort of confident and confluence sort of thing for us. But the one I want to try and concentrate on is on this one. See if we can get the retrace back in to then get the move out. I'll pause the video, and the next time I come on, it's going to be once we've had the movement on this, to be fair. So even if I've got this paused for most of the day, just so I can sort of finish off the video, and I'll be back with you at some stage in the next clip just to see what's happened with the Euro JPY. Okay, guys? So I'll see you in a bit. Right, hi guys. So what we've got here, we've got the 1 hour. Going to do another one here, just so we've got 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 set up. Odd card, 1 hour. Just do the same principle again. X, yeah, B, C to the D. Get your fibs. D point down to the left of the next candle. And again, we are waiting for the push out. This is going to be subjective, to be fair, because again, you've had the wick out of here, so it's sort of mitigated out of that liquidity there. It's gone back in to retest that, if that makes sense. But for added confluence, I generally wait for the price to be outside of this area, to be honest. So this is another one where we're waiting for price to push out, to push back in, to then come down to these areas. Okay. So that's another one I need to make blue. Forward card. And let's just the Euro GPY. It's just pushing down. It's coming to the TP areas on here. If this was to sort of come down into this area here, it's mitigated the whole of the harmonic. So it's just something I need to be wary of. GBP odd. Again, hasn't fully mitigated out to come back in yet. The GBP NZD was one that done it instantly, to be honest, within a 15 to 20 minutes, because each candle's 15 minutes on here. So that, again, that one would have given her about 40 odd pips, to be fair. This at the moment, we need price to push out. In fact, let's take a look at this again, the odd card. So that's the price to there, okay. Hasn't pushed out, we need to go down to the 15 minutes. Drill down to 15 minute, we'll get rid of that. That's what we're waiting on. So price has come out of this at the moment. That's what we're waiting a retracement into, okay. Prices came out of here, we're waiting for the price to come into touch anywhere in this zone, to be fair. And we'll see where we are with that in a moment. I forgot to take that down from the 1 hour, to be honest. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. We've got we'll set an alert on here just so I know if we enter the box. That'll tell me if I'm in there and I know whether to check it or not. Again, this one's just flashing past this. I'll probably discredit this one, to be fair. I think we've just missed out on this. This is just driven price right out. Again, the GBP all down to 15 minute. Again, price hasn't fully come out. This is why I'm saying I need price to close outside of the money box. That's the money box there. And then the GBPZ, which is, it has done, and it has given, excuse me, it has given a nice healthy amount of pips, to be fair. This one has given around about 30 pips or so. So again, we are just waiting for price to see what happens with this, see if it's going to come back in to retest in this area. And yes, the alarm will go, and once the alarm goes off, I'll come back on the video and we'll have a further chat. All right, guys, so what we're doing is we're trying to set up as many of these as we can, just so I can sort of give you the test on them. So we've got an X, here, B, and there's a pattern over a pattern on this, but I can make out where the pattern is. Okay, let's just make sure I get this correct. X, yeah, B, C, D, right. So again, ignore all the bits that you're seeing on here. This is just where the patterns are played out for the next one. Ignore this one. So we're looking at the bigger one here. So we're just going to draw this out, because that is where the D point is. It's down to here. Dear me, dear me. Slip of the button. It's down to there. Okay. So we're drawing it out on the 1 hour pattern, but then we drop down to the 15 minute. Okay. Now, as you can see, the D point, the wick is to here. So we're shortening the odds. And as you can see, we've had the push out, we've had the push in, and it's come out. And we've gone in for a retest as well. So this one would be an active trade. There's your money zone. not once, because it's come out of there, not once, but twice. Could be two retested entries. Again, you're short on the 75 line. Personal preference, you can either do just above the 25, or you could do the D point area. I normally do the D point area and then have this set up to here. Again, you normally get a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 3 on these trades, okay? We'll see how that one plays out. We'll put that one blue, and there's another one set. So again, run through the field of play. We've got the order card. Still waiting for the retracement to come in. It's come out, it's retraced to the 1 line. I do really want it to come into the money zone, if that makes sense. We've now just done the odd chef. That one's a live trade. Euro JPY is just completely running away, to be fair. I still think we're going to discredit this one, but we'll keep it going at the moment, wait for that retrace. From there, obviously, you've got the 15 minutes showing. This one hasn't ended. It has wicked out, but again, we need a body of the candle to come out of this area before we get the retracement, okay? From there, the GBP, NZD, we can see we've had about 30 odd pips out of this, and that one's still in play as well. We may even come back into a retest area. Now, generally what I would do on these as well, yes, you could go and sort of break structure down and go for these 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s. But even if you were to get 10 to 15 pips out of these and close the trades out, to be fair, that always works for me as well. The aim of the game in trading is not to be greedy. It's just to be happy with a certain amount of profit and just close it out and just be consistent in doing that. It's not always about going for the big moves. It's just, sometimes it's just about taking those little bits of profit and just build upon that and build your pot, you know. And then whatever your starting balance has ever been, whether it's a small pot or a medium or a large size pot, you build enough profit and consistency within that to then start using your equity as the profit balance, if that makes sense. So you're not eating into your overall capital. You start using smaller lot sizes built upon inside of your equity of the profit made. So then you're just, if you do take a hit, you are only taking a hit inside of the pot that you have built over the consistent time, you know. So we'll stop the share, we'll stop the recording for now. We'll come back in a short while. We'll see how some of these have played out in a moment. Again, here's another one here, guys. So we're going to go through slowly the settings, the parameters, what we look at, okay? So the auto harmonic V2, it produces an invisible pattern, a dotted out pattern, okay? It's going to give you stop entries, targets, and whatever. Yes, you could take these, but again, you need to define a strategy built into this to make it work for you. We generally go from a C to D. I would normally look for something over 80 to 90 pips, to be fair. The swing point on that is only 50 pips, but I'm going to show you how this is still working and how powerful it is. Go to the XAB CD pattern, be visual, mark out the area, okay? That's our hour play, right? So then you go to your fibs. The fibs is described earlier on the video. Go from the D point, go to one candle to the left to its wick, okay? Now you can see we've come out and there's been no field of play on this at the moment, but if you drill it down to 15 minutes as quickly as you can and you get in on these as and when you can, when the first draw out, okay? We've got the wicked area here, okay? Candle to the left. And you can see from here, we've got the candle to the left, which would have been this one here. Candle to the left. We've drilled it down to the 15 minutes. We've had wax, as I call it, okay? And we've had to close a candle outside on this occasion. Let's come back in to retest that money zone. Okay. So then that would have been activated. That would have been your stop. So target here. And again, like I said, these will only give you around about 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, okay? You can tighten the stops if you should wish to the 0.25 line, but you've got a greater chance of being stopped out. Okay, again, risk to reward is key on these things. Risk to reward is key as always. Again, the target 2 that this is showing, I mean, I'm going by my fibs. This is saying it could go down to target 2 based upon the structure of what the indicator is showing. So I suppose we can put this to here. We'll see what the indicator is showing on here, other than the fibs that I've set for the trade. Okay, so we'll put that into the list as well. And again, we've got a good 6 pairs there at the moment. Again, from that standpoint, the Euro JP, the Euro JPY is now starting to come back in. Again, this might be a good test for this one, because we can see if this will come in to respect this area. Again, if this does and it touches it, it's just going to sort of edify the sort of process that I go through. Again, no wax or no body of the candle is closed out of here. So again, we're still waiting for the push out and then the push in. GPNZD, we've had that push. We had it here. Okay, we're pushed out here. We come in and it tested good 30 to 40 pips, as I mentioned before. From here, we are waiting for, on the order card, we're waiting for the return flagged in to this area. We've had it to the swing of the 1 point, but we're not inside the money zone at the moment. The odd Swiss franc. Again, we've come out, see the body of the candle outside of the money zone. We've come in to test, we've pushed out, we've come back in to test again. So again, on that is given, there's 10 pips there. And I see 10 pips is generally good for these things. There's another 10 to 13 pips there. And it looks as if it's coming in for another retest as well. So if you get in on these retests, again, 20 to 30 pips on these retests is not to be sniffed at, to be fair. From this aspect, yes, we've come out, wax or body of the candle, retest, and now it's shut off. This in itself, from that standpoint, had given around about 25 pips. It looks as if it's coming back in for another retest of that money zone. And this is just sort of, it's just showing you how powerful this method is, to be fair. Again, you may want to watch through this video again once you've taken your notes and seen to the end of it. But I'm going to let it play out. I'll give it till a little bit later. I'll stop the video for now, but we're going to pause the video and we'll be back in a moment, see what happens with the rest of these prices in the next hour or two. Hi guys, so I just thought give a quick update on how things are going. We'll let time go by a little bit. So the yellow circle has been an entry point, okay, simply because we've broke out here. There is what we call the body of the candle has closed outside of that. Okay, so that was an entry. The furthest point it's come to is here. It's heading back towards the entry area. Okay, but we'll do this from the Euro JPY. Still haven't gotten a retracement into the money zone from here, to be fair. We did get a wick out here and then a pull back in, but there was no body candle here until this one here. Okay, GBP odd. We've finally come out of the area, so now I'm waiting for a retracement back in. Okay, we'll see if we'll get that. We'll see if we'll get that today. The GBP NZD, as you can see, we come out, we come in for an entry, and then we come down for around about 30 pips or so, I do believe. Let's see where we're at the moment. Current price has been to about 45 pips. It's currently residing at about 40 pips. Again, nice trade on there. The order card. Let's just drill this in because we got an entry on this actually. Yeah, we got an entry here. Okay, we got the wick and the body out to the pip entry. It's been down as far as this. It's now coming back in towards the money zone area. Well, let's just take a look. So from there to here, that's giving about 25 pips at the moment. It's pushing towards more or less into the money zone again. Odd Swiss franc. Again, clearly pushed out. Entry, it's gone to here. Retest, gone to here. Retest, a little bit of drawdown at the moment. So if you were to measure these out from here to where that went, that's we'll see that's 10 pips. It is 11, but we'll see it's 10. There's another 13. So we'll see if we see a 23. Okay, 23 pips plus another re-entry at the moment. Again, it's holding structure. This is holding structure at the moment, and it's bounced in. It's come out. It's bounced in. It's come out. It's bounced in. It's went a little bit more drawdown. But even if you bagged, let's say, even if you bagged pips to here and pips there, and you took 10 pips, 15 pips at a time, okay, and you re-entered here, you are using your profits for the re-entry. So again, just use a minimal lot size. That's going to keep you within your stop loss area. So if it does kick out on a stop loss, you've only sort of taken out of the profits that you've already bagged for the day, if that makes sense. So it's a good way of gauging this method as well, to be fair. From there, we've had the card clearly come out, okay, clearly come out from the swing, and then it's come in to test, okay. There's your money zone there in the grey area, a little bit of drawdown on this one, but then it's pushed out. And as it's pushed out, this has given a good 25 pips or so. Okay, it has made its way back towards the money zone, but now it's starting to come back out again. Okay, so far so good for the test on this. The one I'm going to leave this on at the moment. Let's take a look. We'll leave it on this at the moment because this is the one. Obviously, we want the Euro JPY to come back in. It's not even come back to test that again, but all eyes is on. Let's take a look. Was it the odd card? On the odd card, because it's not the odd card, sorry. What's Swiss franc? GBP odd. It's this one here. So we've had the push out, obviously. Okay, we've had the push out here. Now we're just waiting to see if this is going to re-enter back into here to push back out again. So far, so good on what I'm showing on here. Again, if you're unsure, watch the video back. If you want to know more and you want to talk about more on this, you please use in the Discord itself. There is an advanced chat area. Please use that area to chat about this at the moment. I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back a bit later on in the next hour or so. We're just going to see how prices played out from this standpoint, okay? And give a final thought of the day. Thank you very much. Hi guys, so we set this up this morning, okay? It was just before 9 o'clock. We were looking at certain things and parameters. Again, we're going to run through where we are at the moment. The Euro JPY, even though it broke out, it didn't come back into the zone, okay? We do start this from the 1 hour, but then we drill it down to the 15-minute. The GBP odd. Let's take a look. It's still making its way back up towards this zone. We're still waiting for that entry to come up there, to be fair. However, there's another pattern just started below here on the 15-minute, as you can see. I don't want to go too much in depth on how you can do a continuation onto other patterns. That'll be for another video. The GBP NZD, we very nicely come out the area, wicked back in, pip entry, and we grabbed it went down as far as 36 pips. It come back into more or less retest the money zone, and it's been at a 60 pip profit at the moment. So there's, let's see, a 60 pips. Let's just take a look. Yes, 60 pips. Okay. From there, we've come out here, entered here, and then came out to here. So there's 60 pips plus 20. There's 25. There's 85 pips. We're coming back into more or less test the money zone. Okay. I set an alarm here. So there's around about 85 pips there. I'm just trying to keep an eye on how many pips here at the moment. So now we've got 3 retests. We are on a little bit of drawdown at the moment. Okay. So if you got in here and then you took it to there, there's 10 pips there, 85, test. We'll see another 10, even though it's 13, so that's 85 up to 95, 105. And then here, there is a little bit of drawdown, so let's take away a 5. So there's a straight 100 pips at the moment. The CAD JPY, very, very nicely down to the 15-minute chart. Okay, we've got from the wick to the candle to the left. Okay, you can see here clearly come out. We came back in to test, had a little bit of drawdown, obviously, but then we've gone on to do around about 25 pips. It's currently at around about 16, 17 pips. So just on those few pairs alone, there's just over 100 pips caught from this morning if we set the trades and obviously the parameters. Okay, again, haven't set the trades. I've just been doing this as a training purpose and showing you the parameters on what I look for when I'm doing a trading from a harmonic style. I won't necessarily use what it's showing you here as a stop, target and entry on this indicator. I'll use my own trading analysis and own style with regards to starting from the 1 hour, using the candle to the left, and then drilling it down to the 15-minute, and then bringing that 1 hour fractal time into the 15-minute area. And again, guys, we've done that live throughout today. That in itself would have produced just over 100 pips so far for you. Okay, so again, I'm just going to stop the share just to make my handsome head a little bit bigger. I'm going to need another shave soon as well, to be fair. But yeah, that's the general consensus of what I would generally use the harmonics for. It's what I used to do. It used to be a little bit more complex than that with regards to half candles and so many to the left and within a certain sort of block. But now I've sort of condensed everything down and simply just gone wherever the D point is, go to your one candle to that left, do it from the wick of the candle, so it's where price action has been on the previous candle. Then from there, wherever the money zone goes to, drop down from your 1 hour to the 15-minute. It then fractally lets you come even tighter. And then from there, you wait for the breakout from the money zone, come back into the retest, and you can take the trade from there. Again, the method back on the old time when I used to do it was around, it had a hit rate of around about, I think it was about 82 to 85% of a win rate. But again, on the fibs that I've got in there, go back and watch the video on the fibs that I've got. You do not have to go, and I stress this on everything that I do within the channel of the Fire Discord, you do not need to go for the TP areas. As soon as you're comfortable with where profit is, you can do one of two things. It can be either take the profit off the table and close the trade out, okay? Or you can move your stop loss to break even or just above break even and let the trade ride until it gets to a TP area and then close a partial out and let it run even more for risk-free. But personally, what I generally do, I have my parameters set, and as soon as I'm happy with the profits that's down the table, I do honestly, genuinely just take the profits off the table and stop the trading, because I don't want to be at the charts all day. Okay, what I've done for purposes on this training today in this video is I've set it all up, showed you what we'll wait for, and I've just been recording when I come on like now, and then pause it, go away, let the price do what it needs to do throughout the day, come back, see where price is, just to prove to you that the concept and the system that I used and have used in the past does genuinely work. Okay, so again, as always, please drop your emojis. If you're watching this inside the Discord, drop your emojis, let me know that you've watched it. For those guys that are watching this, and you'll be directed to YouTube when you're watching this as well, please drop your comments, because it does genuinely help me with the engagement to do even more content on this sort of stuff. So if you're enjoying the content that I'm doing, please drop a comment below, let me know. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you can do so. Simply hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe, okay? And then from there, it just helps me know that I'm doing the right content for you guys. Just need to share the screen because we have an alarm going off. Let's take a look. Order card. So this is coming back up in to test this area. I think what we'll do is I'll not close this video off just yet. We'll just see how this reacts off here. Okay. See if we do get another entry and then see where this goes before I close it out. So that'll be a good test as well. So I'll pause the video for now and we'll see what happens with this price for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, guys? So I'll speak to you in a bit. Was going to close it out, but not at the moment. And then, as you can see, because I was just about to close this off, but we got an alert to see this come back into the money zone. Look where it's come back into test. It's come back into test, and look where it's rejected. Again, guys, a live chart showing you the preference and the parameters that I do. It's not to say that this isn't now going to take liquidity from here and push through and go through the stop. It may do that. But again, it could still just reject off this area and come down and sort of go for the liquidity areas that are built up around here. So again, you could say, right, well, I'll take a profit area from there, or move to break even here, take partial here. You could have a final TP of there, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? So again, even if you wanted to keep this as tight as just above here, just a few pips, and target down here, you could possibly get a 1 to 4. Just remember that obviously when you've taken profits from this or a profit from any trade earlier, you're just using the equity profit for your next trade. You're not going to go into your whole balance, if that makes sense. Just put in a small lot size. That's going to give you a generous risk to reward, but at the same time, if it does go out and hit the stop loss, it's just going to take that little bit off the profit you've already banked, if that makes sense, you know. So I'll pause the video for now. I'll see what happens in the next the next half hour or so, and the next few candles. We'll see where this candle's pushed from. But at the moment, it has nicely came back to do the retest. Okay, so I'll pause the video and then we'll go in the next half hour to an hour. We will close this video out. Hopefully, you've taken some form of education from this today. Just going to run through a couple more. Obviously, that's ran away with us today. We're waiting for a come up on return. So that's 2 dead trades at the moment, or 2 that never ended. We got 1 that ended here. Obviously, it went right down. It's nearly covered the whole 1 to 3. The odd card, we got a nice entry here because we got the full body come out. Test come out here. It's come back into retest onto here. These is what we would possibly look for as a reverse back out. The odd Swiss franc, we've gotten 1, 2 entries, and then obviously you could have caught some pips. And you only really need to take 10 pips at a time out of these moves, to be fair. The third re-entry is now into drawdown, so to speak, okay? And it looks as if it's going to push through that barrier. And the CAD JPY, we've got to push out, back in, retest of the area, and then it's come out. And again, guys, that overall, if you're taking any of these trades based upon that entry to an area where they've obviously potentially gone to, there was a potential of an overall of just on around about 100 pips. But again, based upon the 3 or 4 trades, you could have just had 10 pips out of each. You could have banked 30 pips. There's no need to go for that full hog. You could have just banked 10 pips on each of those trades. There would have been no losses on there today. And again, look at this. It's respecting that. It's come down, it's bounced, and it's coming back out now. We'll see what happens. See if this is actually going to go into the drawdown area or whether it's going to come out and give us another 10 pips on this. At the moment, your 10 pip area is that there, funny enough. So that's a 10 pip area. We'll see if it comes down to give us another 10 pips on there. I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to sign it off on the next recording, because as throughout the day we've paused, record, but it's all been done via live charts. So I'll see you in the next hour or so. So there we have it, guys. I'm going to close it out on that. Again, this just helps with regards to obviously these indications. Okay, we can see here, if we scroll further in, we've got another pattern starting to emerge. It's telling us a butterfly. So this, when you look at this overall, let's have a look. So from there, that's been going for around about 12 hours. Okay, so again, even if you got in on the entries that I was showing today, and even took 10 pips out of each trade that went through the parameters and the entry conditions, you could have gotten about 30 or 40 pips. Overall, the movement on these, obviously where they had gone to before the reversal, it was well over 100 pips in a range between each and every one of those trades. Yes, 2 of them or 3 of them didn't go into an entry area, but for the ones that did go through the price action and the price movement, you could have quite easily have grabbed anything out of those 100 pips that were available, to be fair. Again, in this one's just smashing through everything at the moment. The entry was there. I mean, that one alone is about 20 odd pips, you know, so this one's given 2 entries. The third one has gone on to hit the stop, but again, even if you'd bagged 10 pips out of each of those, you know, I mean, that's easily reached 10 pips. A secondary entry, it went on to 13. So if it took 10 pips at a time, there's another 20 pips out of that, you know, and then only risk a minimal lot size on that next re-entry, you still would have been in your profit anyway. The odd card, this is the one that we were speaking about where come back to entry. Yeah, it's coming back up into the drawdown area. But again, this had come out, retest, and that give a possible 23. Again, you only need to take 10 pips out of these. And then we go into these areas just to finalize everything. It's about 36 pips there. That's actually went on to hit the whole TP when you look at that. 74 pips, you know. So again, well over 100 pips in fairness. It could have been about 120, 130 pips overall. But in reality, you only really need to take a good 5 to 10 pips out of these movements, to be fair. And then the last 2, there was just no entry. Yes, it's come out, but it's never gone back into re-enter, and the same with that. So I guess overall, that's it for the Harmonic. Again, if you're in the Discord channel, okay, and you need to know more and you want to chat more, please use the chat, the advanced chat area, to talk about this. The dog's barking on at the minute, so I'm going to have to go in a second. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video, all based upon the harmonics and how you can easily sort of, from the harmonic pattern, use your fibs, wait for a certain criteria. Don't just go for this indicator and go for what it's telling you on a stop entry and target. You're defining what it's already telling you, but you're giving yourself a little bit more confluence within its structure of itself to be able to predetermine when you're ready to push the button, when you're ready to make the move. And again, look back on this video, watch it, read back, take notes, and if you are stuck, just reach out to me and I can chat a little bit more to you if required. Okay, guys? So I'll see you all later.